man, so XXL just released the XXL freshman cover for 2025, alright? When all these things drop, the freestyles and stuff, we're gonna be going over these things on Twitch. The link is in the description for that. Make sure y'all on point for that. But in the meantime, bro, let's watch this little hype video, then go through this list, man.
You can't be strategic about how you make music. It just has to come as natural as possible.
I just make all type of genre music. I just try to be different.
Pretty much what you see is exactly what you get.
To me, being a freshman meant you was recognized by the peers that you was gonna be the one.
Being on the list of the greatest of my time.
It's a good accomplishment.
Being a part of freshman is a dream come true.
All the legends done did it before.
Progress, really, the next up-and-coming artist gonna take over the game.
Alright, so I happen to be familiar with a good amount of these artists. This is the cover right here, okay? Now, Ray Vaughn being on that, shout out to Ray Vaughn having a great year, having an amazing year, showing that he's the lyricist for sure. The lyricist of the clique, and for sure got some bounce to his music. Because you can't just be a lyricist nowadays, you gotta have that bounce. You gotta have something people can vibe to and want to play when they ride in the car, possibly want to play in the club. You gotta be the full circle artist if you want to make it nowadays, though. But other than that, we got two Florida boys on here, 1900 Rugrat and Low Shimmy. Nino Pay, I checked out Jet Music before, he's pretty decent. Baby Chief Do It, I heard him before as well. You know, they be streaming with Blackboy Max a lot. YTB Fat. Now YTB Fat get a lot of love. He the streets nigga that's doing his thing. He certified, got a fan base that's growing. I know people that listen to YTB Fat for sure. I like to cover his tracks as well. And y'all know we had that situation where we discussed with Tyler the Creator speaking about Ian and saying that he's basically doing a parody of Future. That was a big controversial situation. Jello Ball, of course, back there, and Laser Dim right there too. EBK J-Bo, I believe he's in jail right now, or he was in jail at the time of the shoot. But that's all the people that I've came across at some point in time, and I'm familiar with them as artists. I'm not familiar with Samara Cent, and I'm not familiar with Ian Triplin. So I guess we got to check them out and find out more about them when everything does drop. Hopefully they are talented, you know. Now, as far as the talent on there, XXL, man, I don't know if XXL just got it no more. At least most of the people on this list I've heard of. They've been doing a lot of work. I know their teams work hard too. So it makes sense why a lot of these people on this list. But it's always a game of just waiting to see as far as how this shit actually work out for these people's career. So I say, for example, like, let's go back and look at last year's list and see who was on there. Okay, so this is the 2024 list. How did this turn out, all right? And to be honest, from what I'm seeing, it was a pretty good list. Now that I think about it, Honcho doing his thing, Big S the Plug is having an amazing career. Boss Man D-Lo for sure doing his thing. Fobats kind of slowed down. Scarlip, she cool. Ain't as hot as she was at that point in time. Lay Banks isn't as hot as she was at the point in time right now, but she had her moment. Maida Dawn, I see her on social media, but I don't know if she's like really killing it right now. Not enough for me to recognize. I think we talked about Cash Cobain. Cash Cobain, he out of here. He solidified. Skilla Baby, you know, he does his thing. He solidified. Ain't as hot as he was at that point in time. You know, he recently had a, you know, situation where he got shot. That's tough, but he is solidified. He got a good fan base. That Mexican OT, got some controversial shit he got going on, but his team has done a pretty good job to get him on these playlists. And he pops up every now and then. He sounds like the baby to me. And I believe this is Richard Mary. I don't know nothing about him. But this was a pretty good list though. So I would say they got it pretty much good for this one. This was a pretty good list. Since we here, might as well check out 2023 because I just want to see how accurate they have been. Okay, this was a 2023 one. How were they? Tia Corinne. I've heard about it, but I don't think she's done that well. Glorilla, big hit. That was a smash right there. Ride 49, that was a smash. They killed it with that one. Sleazy World Go, he slowed down like crazy, but you know, he was hot for a minute. DC the Don, it didn't really take off like he's supposed to take off. Lil Tyler, he pretty much performing pretty well. Too Rare, he has his demographic, he performs well within that. Finesse 2 Times, he does this thing for his demographic, you know, but he always in some bullshit. Friday, dope as hell. Lola Brooke, she was on fire, but she slowed down recently. Central C, he out of here, solidified. Real Boston Richard, he got some his own issues, but he still feeds his core following, got his own thing going on. So this was a good list too. I would say XXL has transitioned with the rap game And although it's not lyricists anymore and the actual content that comes from these shoots isn't that well, like the freestyles are trash, ciphers are trash, they're trash. Because what those things were centered around, which is the skill of rapping, is non-existent nowadays, damn near. So a lot of these experiences are trash as hell. It's not as cool as it was for us years ago. But as far as like the production or the output from these artists and the actual careers, they've been pretty much as good as you can. I believe they probably like 60-70% with each list, meaning 70% of these freshmen have decent careers. Now it may not last long. It may not last long, but they be decent. At least they have some moments, you know? But this 2022 list, this shit was trash. It was trash. We had a couple of people on here, but most of these folks did not pan out. Except Doechii, Naughty Wick doing decent. Mostly everybody else, they just existing, you know? They may catch some tracks here and there, but a lackluster list for sure, for sure. But like I said, we are gonna tune into these freestyles and all the content and see what is good on there. Hopefully there is some good things that come from this shit. So we're gonna check them out, man. Make sure y'all are following the Twitch. The link is in the description below. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.